Hypostasis is weird. Seriously, if you think about it, hypostasis is different from any living form in Teyvat. Not only does it consist of pure elemental energy, it also has a blocky appearance and movements. Most of the time, we as the player ignore the fact that hypostasis has potential lore. So I like getting an idea strike and ask a question, is there anyone that already talks about hypothesis lore? Well, you can say there are plenty, but not that comprehensive or rather solidly focused on hypothesis only. For example, hypothesis to Archon, hypothesis to Angel, etc. etc. So here we are. In this video, I will try my best to provide any information about hypothesis that we currently have, along with answers to these interesting questions. What are hypotheses? Where do they come from? What is the purpose of their existence, and many more. If you are curious too, then follow this video till the end. Without further ado, let's get started. This video will be divided into 5 sections: the location, the platform, hypothesis itself, conclusion, and lastly, fun facts about hypothesis. Let's start with the location. Hypothesis location is kinda suspicious. All of their locations are almost at the edge of the map and hard to reach by normal humans, as if the location is trying to void any civilization or civilians. We have Electro hypothesis in Cape of Mondstadt, Anemo hypothesis in Stormbearer Mountain, Geo in Guyunstone Forest, Cryo in Dragonspine, Hydro under Suigetsu Pool Watasumi Island, Dendro in the land of Lower Sekteh, Sumeru, and Pyro in Kanazuka Inazuma. As you can see, all of them located far from the population. The reason behind these location choices might have something to do with leyline energy flow. In Electro hypothesis description, it states if hypotheses usually form either at the location bursting with elemental energy or at a cloaked ley line. So it is pretty reasonable if each hypothesis location is far from the population, because the location contains leyline anomalies that most likely harm to humans and other living beings. But the question is, does this location occur naturally or man-made? Well, we will answer this question later in this video. Additionally, I want to point out something here. For me, it is still quite strange that Mondstadt has the most hypotheses compared to other regions, with 3 hypotheses: Electro, Anemo, and Cryo hypothesis, followed by Inazuma with 2 hypotheses, Hydro and Pyro, Liyue with 1 hypothesis, Geo, and Sumeru with also 1 hypothesis, Dendro. Does it mean that Mondstadt has more leyline anomalies than other regions? But that's not quite right, isn't it? Because if we see Inazuma, for example, that nation has more problem islands or location, like Tatarasuna, Surumi Island, Seirai Island, etc. etc., which has something to do with elemental energy or leyline flow, directly or indirectly. Okay, enough with that flash thought. Let's move on to another topic, the platform. Almost all hypotheses have the same platform design, circle and surrounded by 6 pillars, with Cryo, Dendro, and Pyro hypotheses being the exception. These exceptions happen because, well, as you can see, Cryo hypothesis is in Dragonspine, covered by snow and falling kingdom. Dendro hypothesis is under the sand and get abandoned, and Pyro hypothesis is in war location. So it is pretty reasonable if the 6 pillars they have somehow broke along the time. This platform design is also actually quite unique. The circle contains 3 distinct motifs or symbols. At the edge, we can see a twisted rope motif. Then, toward the center, we will see a big star polygon shape. And at the very center, there is a Solomon knot. At first glance, these motifs or symbols combination looks similar as in domains, specifically artifact and weapon material domain. But unfortunately, it is not 100% one-to-one comparison. If we pay attention closely, even artifacts and weapon material domains are different too. In this case, different arrangements. 3 of them still consist of those 3 symbols: twisted rope, star polygon, and Solomon knot. Perhaps this arrangement has its own purpose. I know there are some domains that have no motifs on the platform, but instead mural stone on the wall like this one. Usually, a combination of motifs or symbols are used for some kind of ritual, or you could say experiments, and different arrangement for different purposes. If that is true, then it means hypothesis platform is a ritual or experiment where hypothesis being the main object for unknown purpose. Back to those three symbols, these symbols are not a random symbols, They have their own meaning. Twisted rope, from what I found, has four association. Purity, from Shimenawa in Japanese tradition. Time, from infinity symbol. Fate, the idea of loom of fate from Morai, the fate goddesses in Greek mythology. And Samsara, the endless circle of suffering of birth, death, and rebirth in Endless Knot Buddhism. Solomon Knot, which can literally mean Solomon's seal. We are already familiar with this term in Genshin, associated with Ars Goetia and Lesser Key of Solomon, basically demon's name and magic. Besides that, Solomon Knot may also represent immortality and eternity, because there is no visible beginning or ending on that symbol. And about star polygon shape, well, there are plenty, like Star of Lakshmi, Ruk El Hizab, Kagome Crest, Surya Majapahit, Star of Ishtar, and 8-pointed star in Chinese tradition. To summarize, this star polygon shape is most likely associated with seal, fortune, illusion, and life. Now, how about the 6 pillars? These 6 pillars, from what I observe, have connection to the star polygon in the center. What I mean is, when we activate the hypothesis, all 6 pillars and the star polygon will glow with the corresponding hypothesis color, as if the experiment start to operate and elemental energy get absorbed. Alongside with that, these 6 pillars may also be barriers so the hypothesis can be stable and stay on the platform. Before we jump to the next section, how about we summarize what idea we get from what we already established about location and platform? So, hypothesis, location, and platform most likely does not occur naturally. Instead, it is man-made, and based on the similarity to other domains, it can be assumed to be part of a science civilization. The reason why they built that might have some relation to the symbols that appear on the platform, which connect to purity, time, and elemental energy. Since it contains condensed elemental energy, then the location is far from population, and to avoid any further problem, they built 6 pillars to optimize and stabilize the experiment. Then with all of that, what is the purpose of this experiment or ritual? To answer that, we need to take a look at hypothesis itself. What is hypothesis? According to Adventure's Handbook and archive in the game, hypotheses are considered to be a life form that consists of the highest level of elemental purity. They also have a high level of homeostasis, which means they have more stable elemental energy than others. Because of that, hypotheses have strong rejection properties. For example, we cannot combine the core of Hydro hypothesis to other Hydro properties. On top of that, hypotheses have some kind of ability to learn and adapt to their environment. So, how does hypothesis form? With the flow of the concentrated ley line there, and combining with the platform that can absorb and stabilize elemental energy, then it is possible to say hypotheses emerge from that process. But due to that process, hypotheses get attached to the platform, which is basically their own source of energy. So when hypotheses get outside from the platform, hypotheses become inactive. This is supported by the existence of the Sakura Arborism quest in Inazuma, where in that quest, there is inactive electro-hypothesis. In order to activate that, Fatui and Treasure Holder try to collect power from Thunder Sakura. Hypotheses also have their own unique names. There are Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, He, Zayin, and Ayin. This particular name, if we translate it, we will get the order first, second, third, 4th, 5th, 7th, and 17th. As you can see, that is not the right order. So if that is not, what does this name represent? From my perspective, instead of representing order, those names could possibly represent generation, like first generation, second generation, etc. etc. It means that the more generation it has, the more complex and advanced hypothesis becomes. Because we need to remember that hypotheses have the ability to learn and adapt, which allow them to evolve. We can compare Electro hypothesis, first generation, to Pyro hypothesis, 17th generation. When we find each of them, we can see clearly the difference. Pyro hypothesis has more fluid movements and variety attacks. It even has an extra bar below its health bar. So yeah, those names represent their generation. Now we know what hypotheses are, what they're capable of, their connection to platform and location, but we still have one big question. What is the purpose of this hypothesis? Why did Ancient Civilization build that? For what reason? Actually, it reminds me of the Large Hadron Collider. I know they both are not the same, but hear me out for a second. This hypothesis experiment or ritual might have a similar purpose as the Large Hadron Collider has. If you don't know, Large Hadron Collider in general is a particle collider. Scientists built that in order to seek the basic understanding of reality by finding the building blocks of the universe. Basically, what I mean is, this Ancient Civilization built hypothesis experiment in order to seek the basic law or building blocks of Teyvat, or rather, building blocks of the Genshin universe. This is important because by knowing the basics or its building blocks, they can see what possibly happened at the beginning of time, where all the elements originally come from. This is also supported by the existence of this item, Setter Phenocryst, that we get from the hypothetic symphony event. It states there, a mysterious crystalline substance that you obtain after defeating the mighty hypothesis, and its lovely colors are like the remnant light of the elements as they are scattered. That's why hypothesis properties are so pure and stable compared to others, because they are reminiscence of the past. At the same time, since it is part of the ley line, the items that hypothesis drop consist of memories or data from the past and present moment. Not only can they see the past, they can also use this hypothesis experiment to predict and provide data for a possible future. That might be the reason why they let hypothesis to evolve generation to generation. That being said, connection hypothesis to Archons, Gnosis, Angels, Magics, or even other elemental forms might make sense, because all of them follow the basic law, and that basic law can be seen in this hypothesis experiment or ritual. For example, hypothesis movement, hypothesis appearance like their cracked body, and so on. Furthermore, this speculation about the purpose of hypothesis really reflects what the symbol represents on the platform: purity, time, and elemental energy. To complete this video, how about we take a moment here and take a look at some fun facts about hypothesis you might want to know. Did you know Electro-hypothesis is the only hypothesis variant that shows sigil in its shooting attack? I personally do not know what that sigil represents. Some say it is sigil of demons, others say it is angel stem, but after several investigations, I cannot find any symbol that really fits to that sigil. I have already seen a list of demons in Ars Goetia including their sigils. Almost all hypotheses have clapping attacks, only Hydro and Dendro hypotheses that don't have that. Hydro hypothesis has more health than others. All hypotheses have the ability to summon things when they get low health. Anemo hypothesis is the only hypothesis that can still revive and defend back even if we have destroyed its summon. Electro, Anemo, and Hydro hypotheses have 7 attack variants, while Geo and Pyro hypotheses have 8 attacks. Unfortunately, Cryo and Dendro only have 5 attack variants. All gemstone name we get from hypotheses have connection to deities in Hinduism. All hypotheses have their own unique pattern on them. Lastly, the sentence we see on the sigil and hypothesis actually have meaning. This sentence, which means from the pinnacle of light in the grid elements. This also can be found on the seal in front of Mona's house. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe so this channel can grow and make more videos in the future. Hello Zen here and see ya!